And welcome to the Ruby Tuesday. My name is Ruben, and this is my review for Netflix's original movie, Metal Lords. I'm going to keep my rock Jesus hair for this review. Two friends try to form a heavy metal band with a cellist for the Battle of the Bands. Okay, so you've definitely seen this type of story before. It kind of will remind you of School of Rock and Nick and Nora's Playlist, and Nick and Nora's Playlist was directed by this same director, and this film was written by the guy that pretty much wrote all the episodes of Game of Thrones, so it's an eclectic collaboration. The thing is, this film feels like it starts off fairly slowly, and it takes a while to get into it. So if you're one of those that don't give films very much time, I think you're going to have to give it more than 20 minutes, because once we get into the crux of the matter, the story, the team that's kind of starting to build in the story here in the main arc, that's when the story starts to get, I guess, when it gripped me and when I started to get invested with the characters. Because actually we have three main protagonists here. One is the guy that had no friends that ends up being a friend with the rocker whose dad and his relationship is very much strained. It's a very broken relationship. And then we have the kid that just wants to fit in and never really found metal to be the thing. It would never really have thought about metal unless this friend that kind of adopted him as his best friend. And then they need to get a third, like a bassist, to perform in Battle of the Bands, because they reckon that once they're in Battle of the Bands, everybody will recognize them. They'll become popular and metal gods. And so that's kind of the story. But once we start getting into the meat of the story, you start seeing the issues that each of our protagonists has. And I thought that was probably the strongest bit of the story, enough for you to care about the characters. The thing is, it is fairly superficial. They never really go into the actual issues. You start seeing the effects, like our cellist has some medical condition, and you start seeing a little bit of that. I would have liked more time spent with that sort of situation, so that once we get to the crux, the Battle of the Bands at the end, you really, really do care. Now, I did care, and there was enough for me to continue watching and enjoying the film. But I really felt like there was a bit of meat missing. I felt like it was either cut out at the editing floor, or they just never intended to go as deep as that. And maybe that's okay, because it is probably aimed at a younger demographic, 10 Things I Hate About You sort of demographic, Nick and Nora's Playlist. And it is interesting, it is emotionally engaging, and I think for those that love metal, you're gonna love all the references, all the bands, all the music, all the hairstyles, all the clothing. All of that is kind of like, metal. I'm not a huge heavy metalist, but I do like my rock, and so the mixture of what is considered to be metal in my day and what is metal now has changed a lot. I mean, I'm not that old. I'm 40. But music has changed. So it was interesting seeing what was referenced, who was referenced. There is this mix, which I really like in the music. Once the celloist is kind of put in with the band, you start hearing the mix of metal in that. I really love the mix of instruments. I think that works so well. And it's a huge arrow in the quiver of this film. It adds a depth that I wasn't expecting. And then with her character, I think she's probably my favorite character, the celloist. I think that adds a depth of, okay, now I'm engaged with this film. I'm here to stay towards the end. The filmmaking itself is fine. The acting from the three, I think it was good. They all played their roles really well, different enough, believable enough that you forget that they're actors there, rather than they are actually playing those people in their roles with what they've been given, with the script they've been given. The script is fairly decent and fairly believable. They're like a moment as an example, like a bully fight, but how they react to that situation is written quite believably. So there were moments in this film that I thought really shined. I do feel like it was a bit long and it took a while to get to the point, but I also wanted other character depth and moments. Does that make sense? So I enjoyed it, especially when you get to the end and you get the music and you get the rock and things start working out. But it's the journey of the film that I think makes it up. The characters are half decent and it's written quite well. So I'm going to give this 3.5 Nicolas Cages out of 5. Let me know your thoughts down below. It's not the best kind of rock coming of age story I've seen ever, but it is very much enjoyable. I enjoyed it. The music was excellent. Good story. Let me know your thoughts. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. But most of all, until next time, remember, live on Tuesday.